So let's just go take that original one here, and if we don't like it, we can make some changes later. Add all sorts of filters and effects to that to make the lines darker, more easily visible, higher contrast, or even add some, I don't know, some wet paint or some other stuff to that. Lots of filters in Dog Waffle to experiment with that. But the big question is, well, how do we map this thing, right? Here's the image, but how do we map that? Of course, it's going to have to be through the material file. Here's the OBJ file, and here's the material file associated with it. Right, so when we open this one here, as we saw earlier, we do have a couple of indicators of certain maps here, which are on the object called paint. So it's quite likely that is in fact what we're seeing when we're looking at the main surface appearance, not the glass, but really the main body where the paint is. So let's just apply it to that, and instead of just using the factor here, the color, what we could do is in fact give it an additional map for the physics-based rendering. Now, how many are there and what's their names, right? When you look at this here, there's a map something, map underscore, and then something. And so the PM is the parameters or pixels for the metallic appearance. And then KD is the albedo, the coloring. In fact, let's look for these files. Let's see if we can find those. Let me move this to the side. So we should have a metallic 2. And there it is. There was probably metallic at first, which was just really high contrast, meaning that there were some metallic parts, the windows, maybe in front of the cockpit and on the sides. But I think Dan played with this a little bit to give it a little bit of metallic appearance also on the other parts, right? So you simply apply some brightening and maybe put some patterns on it or paint on it with a soft brush. And that makes it a little bit different from the original. The original was all black, so no metallic appearance, just flat, whereas this one here will be usable to convey a sense of metallic all over even the painted parts. And if you want to make it more metallic, you simply make it brighter. You increase the brightness of these medium gray levels here. Let's take a look at the albedo. Do we have an albedo? There it is. Yep, the original is like this. So that one provides coloring, right? And we see that the original was very neat and clean. Right? And then we have some extra noise and dirt. And you could add some wet paint. You could add some extra little granularity in coloring there. Rust, bullet holes. You could put some bullet holes here on the side. I mean, there's a whole lot of things you can do just for the visual appearance at this level here. So that's the albedo, and so that will indicate how it reflects the colors, and that's what makes the colors visible. And there is also the roughness. So that's what I see. Usually, I imagine with that something like bump maps. And so, yeah, the original had the outlines, but really no bumps in there. And what you can do is you simply put some patterns in there, like for example, a little bit of what's this one? That's one of our filters in Howler, plaid pattern or something. And then it has some wet paint as well. You can do more or less of that. But let's see which one do we actually use. Yep, it's roughness too. All right, so we need an image, JPEG or PNG. I think PNG will work too. We have a PNG here. If for some reason it doesn't take it, we'll just use a JPEG version. But what we can do is we can combine this one on top of the albedo. We know the albedo is providing most of the coloring. If we add this one, multiply that one, the white pixels will not change the existing, right? Multiply any color with white, it remains that color. But if you multiply the black pixels, these black pixels will turn anything black. So you will see, as a result, a combination of this one and this one. When you put them in multiply mode, like two layers together in multiply mode, you'll see these colors wherever this part is white, and then along the black lines you'll actually see those black lines. All right, so that's something worth trying, even just as is in the layering system. Let's go and take a look at that. I'm gonna let's see, I'm gonna grab this one here and make it a little bit smaller just temporarily. So I have the UV map here. I drag and drop it in here. Actually, let me first store the prior, just in case I want to go back to that. There it is. Store that. Where's my store? There you go. So I have slightly different versions. This is one that I had earlier loaded, so we can use that, or we can just drop a new one in here. And there you go. So this one I'll store, and then I'll also actually put it into a layer. If you look at the layering system, it's not as complete as you might want, but there are certainly some good things you can do with it. Right now I have just one layer, and I'm going to add another image, and that's this one here with the albedo. Maybe the one that already has been modified. Why not? Let's do that. And so I'm going to switch to Howler and put this one, albedo 2, right in here. So now we have those two images loaded. One of them is stored. Click here, and now both of them are stored, and we can click from one to the other. You can see also there are different sizes. This one here barely fits in the upper left corner. So oh yeah, it looks like this one is a 2K by 2K. If I recall, we made this one a 1K by 1K. So let's double it up. Let's go do this. I'm going to load this one, but I'm going to tell it to replace the image. So scale to fit. So then it fits into the others, and then store that. And so now that's the image I want to work with. I can get rid of the others. This one I'll keep. This one I'll dismiss. Okay, and then so here now they are the same dimensions. But you can tell there's a little bit something off. If you look at the outline here on these weapons, and then you go to the other, they're not at the same position. There's a little bit of an offset. I'm not sure where that came from. So you got to be careful that it's actually really the same image positioning. The seats here look good. If you look in the upper left corner here, there's something wrong though further down. Yeah, it's partly clipped off. There, I did something incorrect, or the image was not properly scaled. I think what I'm going to need to do is force it to the exact dimensions I want. Oh yeah, this one is actually incomplete. It's got something missing. Silly me. Now where did that happen? Okay, let me go back. Maybe that was the export from the oh man, that's not good. I have a broken. Is that one partly broken? I didn't pay attention to it. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh no, there it is. It's complete. Okay, so I need to see if I can I do something like a right click? You know what? I'm going to do this a very brute force approach. I'm going to just have it displayed. Double click it, but not in LibreOffice. No, thank you. Unless it has a way to export. I did that and it didn't do it all. So I don't know why it missed the bottom. Let's go do that again. It is complete. It is complete here. So we should be able to, let's see, save as, let me save it as a JPEG. That's not really the issue, by the way. It should not. Okay, that's not good. I don't want to save it. I want to export it then. Export as. So here's where I saw all these different formats. What's with this? Stop it. First page. Wait, is that over 2 pages? No. So we have here the JPEG. Okay, I'm going to save it to JPEG. And hit there, because that way it's the same format as the others. Why not? Automatic file extension, selection. Okay, I'm gonna call it uvmap.jpg. Let's see if this time it gets everything correctly at the bottom too. So I'm gonna make the dimensions the full, what is it, 2048. I think it was double. So 2048 is likely the dimensions. Worst case, we can adjust that and resample it one more time. RGB, quality pretty high. Okay, that. All right, let's see if we get a JPEG version of this. And it is complete now. This time we're not cut off at the bottom. So I don't know when and how that happened, but you can see here it's a little bit off. Good thing we caught that. So let's get rid of this PNG. That one is no good. Let's get this JPEG version. And by the way, it doesn't have to be with Open Office or LibreOffice or Office, Microsoft Office, whatever it is you use to view that PDF. You can open it in a web browser, right? So if you go to something like Firefox or Brave, or Google Chrome. When you open that PDF, it will be inside your browser, and you can zoom in there too, and it can actually look very good if it is vectors, and this is a vector-based image, I think, so it doesn't look too blocky. So that's really good. What you can do at that point is take a screenshot and save it as a raster. And sometimes you'll see, depending on which browser you have and what the extension allows, you may have some options there too, to take a screenshot or to save it directly, render it out to a JPEG or something like that. But when you take screenshots, you want to be careful that it's not clipping away the parts that you don't actually see. That's something that could happen there. Okay, so that's a little side note. You can do that. We have the JPEG. Now let's go and choose that JPEG as part of the materials. So when we look at the albedo, when you look albedo 2, when you look at the roughness, the metallic parts, I'm going to look at the material property here and add that additional file. And actually, we have it already, right? No, yeah. I mean, I could have it as a separate file if I just wanted the RGB. I would comment out this one and say, instead of the albedo JPEG file, I want this one here, the uvmap.jpg, right? So uvmap.jpg, and uncomment that, and now we do actually use, for the diffuse map, we use that UV map. So that means it's going to be white, most of it, and black lines, and no other coloring. But what I ultimately want, eventually I want to combine this image and this image, so I put them both together through 2 layers and then flatten it, and I'll have the combination. We'll do that too. First exercise is to see, can we get this UV map to properly appear on the 3D model. This should actually work even right here. If you double click that and preview it in 3D Viewer, which comes with Microsoft, you should, well, this one I guess doesn't. This, okay, you need another viewer. This one doesn't actually look at the material property of the OBJ, so we need to open it with something else, and we will open it in Howler in a second, but let's see if there's something else. 3D Builder, 3D Viewer, 3D Print. Let's do 3D Viewer. I think that's similar. Yeah, that's the one I just did. Okay, so that's not the one I want, unless there's an option to tell it to use the materials too, and that's really where you need to be a bit more understanding than me here in terms of what your capabilities are with that object or with the viewer. 3D Viewer, no go. 3D Builder. Now, that one may have some extras. I'm not sure if it's using. So this one, yeah, this one is looking for the material. And there it is. Let's proceed, and it's going to hopefully use that, and then it's asking me to specify where are the image files. So it's looking for the material file. Oh, it's looking at another material file. Well, that's odd. Well, I thought that that's just this one here. Let's see if it doesn't find it here. Oh, of course, it's still the same dialog. It says, oh, it looks like we need to import a material file. I haven't told him which one yet, so here it is. Now I'm telling it. Okay, and then there's some texture files required also. All right, let's proceed and get those two. So now it's going to ask me for these texture files. All right, then, so the first ones, I don't know which one's actually asking for. Is it the albedo? What's the material files looking for? First one is the metallic too. Let's hope it's in the same order. All right, I don't think I have any others, so let's go. Let's give it the metallic first, and then the roughness, and then the UV map. I hope that's what it's looking for. That would be right here. Metallic roughness. Okay, metallic 2. Oh, albedo. Albedo 2. It wants the albedo. Why is it wants the albedo? Well, let's get it. Okay, so definitely it wants those materials. Cool. And it looks like it has a little bit of, no, that's shadowing. So I don't know if it has the metallic part, but we do want to use the other one. So let's take a look here. The OBJ file is what we're opening, so let's see, that's where it starts. Let's go and open that with Notepad++. And it's looking for this material file. That's why it asked us to specify where is it. And I assume that's the only material library. Let's do a Control F to find if there's any other places. No, that's the only one. Count should just be one. Yes, so there normally should be just one material library nominated or designated in the OBJ file. And what we'll do next is take a look at that material file. Right, that's the one where we were right here. Now, what is it that we have with the albedo? We have this one here commented out. Why is it looking for that? It shouldn't be looking for that. You know what? I'm just going to take it away. Let me first see if there's any other place, Control F, where this albedo is seen or used. No, it's only one, and there it is. If I go somewhere else and find it, there it is. All right, so we do need to, I'll just take this away. It's the map_KD. I'll take it away, and hopefully now it's just going to ask for this one. Right? And I think that was the first one, actually, come to think of it. So I'm going to go put it right there, excuse me, this way, and then one is good enough. The diffuse map is UV map, so we should not need anything else. The metallic is still in use, the roughness is still in use, the glass is here. Let's make it really bluish and a little bit cyanish. So let's make it a 7 and 0.5 or something like that. So a little bit of green as well, more blue though. That's for the glass, and then there's the wireframe. So I'm not sure where that one goes, and maybe we should actually move the map here right down there. Let's just do this first and see what that looks like. So okay, here we go. Open that with 3D Builder. Again, it should ask me, it should see that we're using material file. There it is. Let's proceed and say where it is. And so that's where it's going to, now it remembers last time this is where it looked. Okay, and as it's opening that, it's going to see, aha, now we see the first material is the UV map. Say where that one is. UV map is this one. Then it's looking for the others. Aha, it works. Look at that, beautiful. Okay, we now have the UV map of that wireframe mapped on it. So isn't that beautiful? We can actually create a really good quality wireframe display of this without switching to wireframe mode. And this should also, oh, we have our bluish tinted windows here. Great. Okay, so let's do that now with Howler. So for Howler, I think I still have it here. Yep. I'm going to go to erase this. I'm going to go to, oh, we need the two mapped first. Okay, so not quite there yet. We need to have this image is the JPEG. Put that in. Okay. And then the other one is this one. And now these are mapped. Okay, these are matching their position. This one is bad. Let's go delete that. But this one is good. And this one is good. So that now we have that corresponding alignment. Now you can load one in the swap image buffer and the other one in the front image visible buffer. Or you can put them more traditionally in two separate layers. So let's go add an additional layer. And while we have this one here, we go to this layer and load this in. And you see it's already in multiply mode. Right, that's the thing about Howler, is that it's using the multiply mode by default. The default layer mode is the same as multiply. There. You go multiply or default, same effect. You can do others. If you want those black lines to appear white, you divide by that. And that would be a really cool thing to do as well. So there's many different ways to combine this, and some of them will be shockingly different colors. Fun stuff. Image processing applied for who knows what purpose. Here, black lines again. That's what's this one here. Darken. Okay, so it takes the darker ones and makes it darker. If you do the multiply, that's the more typical way to do it. And now you simply flatten the two into a single flat image. And so you can store that and save it out. So that way you have a single image containing both the wireframe and the coloring.